Does your shop need more time, more cars, more money? Does your shop run slow? Well, let's compare the inefficient shop to the efficient shop, with the efficient shop using bolt-on technology. At 9 a.m., a customer comes to the inefficient shop about a whoosh, rubbing, stretching noise. There's 2 other customers, so they have to wait in line. Finally, after 20 minutes, the inefficient service advisor asks them for their personal information and briefly goes over the whoosh, rubbing, stretching noise with the customer. The customer lets them know the car is needed by 4 and, late for work, hurries off, leaving them to fill in the blanks. The advisor runs out to the car to jot down the VIN number, but when they put it in the shop management system, it brings back the wrong vehicle information. They go back out to the car and see the 6 was actually a G. They head back into the shop, put in the correct information, but manually create labor lines instead of using the ones that are already built in. After manually adding the diagnostic costs, they print out a tech worksheet and put it in a red job ticket holder so the technician knows it needs to be done somewhat sooner than the others. The sheet is hung up on the diagnostic hook. A customer comes to the efficient shop at 9 a.m. about a whoosh, rubbing, stretching noise. The customer goes to a tablet running Welcome Station and inputs their phone number. This system gets customers out 10 minutes faster. After confirming their personal information and vehicle, the tablet suggests services based on the current weather, along with recommended services from the last time they had their vehicle serviced. Since they're already in the shop, they approve the services and go over the issues that brought them in, automatically updating their contact information in the shop management system and creating a new work order with notes. The efficient service advisor then takes them out to the vehicle and together they discuss the whoosh, rubbing, stretching noise that happens when they turn. Using a tablet running Mobile Manager Pro, the efficient advisor adds pre-built symptoms to the order, the same ones in the shop management system. The changes update the system in real time, automatically adding labor costs for the diagnostic. The efficient advisor tells the customer to look out for a text message with the results of the courtesy inspection. The customer lets them know the car is needed by 4 and heads off to work, while the service advisor assigns the job to an efficient technician, making the order show up on their tablet. The customer is out faster, but the car is ready almost half an hour faster. Meanwhile, back at the inefficient shop, the inefficient service technician gets to the job at around 10:30, diagnosing the steering issue. Since the inefficient shop is still a thorough one, they also conduct a multi-point inspection, finding a bad power steering pump, brakes that are metal to metal, a leaky oil pan, and 2 tires that are at 3/32 tread. After scribbling down their findings, your tech runs the red sleeve back up to the front and hangs it on the inspection complete hook. Once the inefficient service advisor gets caught up on paperwork, they spend 5 minutes deciphering the tech's tiny handwriting and another 15 putting it in the system, in between phone calls. Meanwhile, the car sits. Once the recommendations are in, the revisions are made, and parts prices are gathered, the advisor calls the customer's cell phone and gets voicemail. Meanwhile, the car still sits. The inefficient advisor hangs the order on the waiting for approval hook. The efficient technician finds the same issues. However, they also take pictures, which allow them to show the customers exactly what's wrong. Using detailed descriptions that are already built in, they create an inspection report that is easy for the customer to follow. And as the inspection's updated, so are the recommendations in the shop management system. Once the efficient technician is complete, a notification is sent directly to the service advisor. Using Report Pro, they review the inspection, make sure it's ready to be sent off, and then sends it as a text message to the customer, who receives it immediately. Things aren't looking good at the inefficient shop as the car sits and sits and sits. The customer, who was in a meeting, didn't recognize the shop's phone number and sent the call to voicemail. But once they remember, they check it and call back. Almost an hour and a half later, the inefficient advisor goes over the power steering pump along with the other issues they found, but the customer wants to know exactly how bad the power steering pump is, why the brakes weren't making noise before they brought it in, and why on earth are they paying $300 for a $15 part they just Googled. After some discussion, the confused and sticker-shocked customer is hesitant to make a decision. The repairs sound expensive, and the service advisor isn't much of a salesperson, so the customer decides to get the pump fixed and pass on everything else. After all, it's getting late, and the car will stop making noises, right? The service advisor puts in the call to the parts shop for the parts and waits for delivery. In the meantime, the inefficient advisor runs the ticket back to the tech to let them know exactly what it is the customer's going to be looking for. At the efficient shop, the customer receives a text message as soon as it was sent. Now they know the inspection's complete and they should be getting a call soon. But in the meantime, they click the link, where they see the inspection that talks about everything that's going on with their vehicle. The customer suspected there were issues, but after seeing those pictures, now they're convinced. Once a customer clicked on the link, a notification was sent back to the shop letting them know. So they call the customer a little later to go over each item line by line and let them know what exactly was making that noise, along with the other issues that they were unaware of. Feeling informed, the customer approves the order. So the Efficient Advisor changes the order from an estimate to an invoice, and now it shows up on the text tablet as well as the tire and brake specialists. Back at the Inefficient shop, the part shows up and the service advisor yells to the back to let the technician know that it's arrived. After the technician spends 2 hours on a pump for a car that's just been sitting there all day, it finally makes its way back out to the parking lot, with the job ticket hanging on the complete hook. After finishing phone calls and paperwork, the Inefficient service advisor calls the customer in and accepts payment. Then the disgruntled customer heads home. Less than a week later, the brakes start making noise. Blaming the Inefficient shop for not getting the job done, they go to a competitor who fixes the brakes, the tires, and the oil gasket, all while they complain about the last shop. Needless to say, this customer never went back to the Inefficient shop. At the Efficient shop, once the part's delivered, the service advisor sends a notification back to the tech. After doing the job, they notify the service advisor that the car is ready. So they send a message to the customer using Message Manager. Customer comes in ahead of schedule, and noting the professional-looking invoices, complete with referral coupons, they take their car and go home, where nothing happens. Having a safe vehicle makes the customer feel great. And not only do they refer friends, but they remember to come back for their oil change, thanks to Lube Sticker Pro. So which shop do you think did better? The Inefficient shop took 7 hours to make $139 in parts and $165 in labor, for a total of $305, which isn't bad. But the Efficient shop with bolt-on technology spent 6 hours to make $400 on parts and $347 on labor, which brings us to a grand total of $750, which, just in case you didn't have your calculators, comes out to more, almost 150% more. So find out what thousands of repair shops already know. See it in action by requesting a demo today. Go to boltontechnology.com or give them a call, 610-400-1019.